If you remember a few months ago, Goblin Slayer was a big thing over a plot device that show had. Well, now we have it again in The Rising of the Shield Hero. It was a manga, then it got adapted to an anime. And one thing real quick that I find real funny about this is there was no outrage until the anime version. Feeling my theories that these NPCs do not read anything. They merely just consume visual entertainment. It's always good to read, people. Even if it's comics, manga, read something. Keeps your brain going. But anyway, this anime is not without its fair share of controversy, as they say right here. I'm not going to read the whole article. I just pulled it up for a little bit of reference. So basically the context is what's going on here, and I'm going to just spell out one word here for algorithm reasons, is Rising of the Shield Hero is a Isaka series in which a student named Owatami Nafume is transported into a fantasy world along with 3 others. Summoned as the 4 heroes, each one is given a special weapon, with Nafume given a special shield. There's something strange early on, as everyone seems to treat Nafume differently, just because he has the shield, and belittle the fact that he's supposed to be one of the heroes meant to save the world. When the 4 heroes put together adventuring parties, Nafume ends up with a single partner, a woman named Natalie. On the second day of forming a team with mine, Nafume wakes up to find his introductory silver and gear are gone. When trying to discover the cause, he finds that he's been accused of RAP. So the thing going on here is basically she accused him, and they believe her, and he pretty much gets shunned, and this is kind of a plot. And how we find out that it's fake is during the trial, she looks at him and does that anime thing where they pull their eyelid down and stick their tongue out. And we know right there that, he's innocent, which I'm sure will be proven eventually in the series. But so now he's so shunned by everybody that he has to buy servants to, fight. So he has to buy them to fight in his party because no one will fight with him. So you can imagine, based right there on how bad things are going to get for this show. Now, before I show you some reactions that are really funny, I just want to say this is exactly what I love about Japan, anime and manga. There's been a big rise in manga and anime, right? And this isn't new. This has been happening for a while. And a lot of our entertainment has been kind of corrupted by, agendas. And you can literally get on Twitter, small little groups can get on Twitter now, and they can just complain, and people will listen to them. They can really change celebrities and movies, video games, all this stuff. All these people on Twitter, which, you never meet in real life, right? And they can do that on Twitter. They can get mad about an anime or a manga, but it doesn't change anything. They have no power over this. And when they sit there and wee all over social media, Japan just sits there and they just count their money. Now, let's say that they could actually convince, Crunchyroll, who's carrying this, I guess, and I think Funimation is as well, them not to carry this, right? Well, people would just pirate it. The anime industry in America thrived on piracy for the longest time. I know Naruto did, because people were watching that way before simulcast. So, and I still sell merchandise and video games coming out all the time. It's an industry. And one of the reasons, they've done a lot of the Shonen Jump stuff and this simulcasting, like you get Dragon Ball Super and stuff like that the day of. And now they're even doing same day dub, which is crazy. That's impressive. Is because they want to stay ahead of the pirating game and they make it affordable, and it's working. Sales still, regardless, even with the pirating, are good because people will support it because it's cheap. Now, if they, like I said, manage to get the American companies to stop, well, people would just take to the internet. The stuff would still be popular. Merchandise would still be out here. There's literally nothing NBCs can do to stop that culture. And I think that does irritate them. They literally have to move to Japan. Oh, wait, they can't because Japan they don't like gaijin. Yeah, it's tough to move to Japan. It really is. You have to prove your worth to live there. I know somebody from playing old Call of Duties. I'm still friends with him on Xbox. We talk a little bit every once in a while. And he lives over in Japan. And he had to He got a work visa, and he had to prove he was worth it to stay there. And it was a big, long process for him. So not anybody can live there. But yeah, let's take a look at some of the outrage just to see them read, because there's literally nothing they can do, and that's what makes this so great. So here's this one. Actually, you know what? We don't need to talk about this false accusation and slavery apologism show. Here's a list of organizations dedicated to helping survivors. Not to give them some credit, right? Apparently, and I don't think this is true, they say they would never want to censor media. We know that that's not true. So instead of reviewing it, they actually shared a bunch of charities. They say they didn't want to bring attention to the show, but literally they kind of are, because I found this by searching Rising of the Shield Hero, and the outrage is what's getting people to talk about it. This is how CBR has one here. But I don't know if that's true. They don't want to censor things. You know, I don't think there's anything bad with sharing the charities and stuff. But, you know, I think this show brings up really good points about how you can be shunned and how people that get accused of things like this have their lives literally ruined like this guy did. And this makes people mad, you know. Kudos to Japan for actually touching this. This would never come out here, ever. Something like this could never be an American show, at least not right now. That's why Japan's anime and their manga is blowing up over here, because it's the only place where we can truly get a free speech type kind of program like this, where they'll actually talk about something like that, because you'll never see that here, right? Because of our society and how kind of messed up it is. But let's take a look at some of these tweets and some of these responses. That's always kind of fun to do. All right, so we got this hot take. I don't think I've ever been more repulsed by an SK premiere than the Rising of Shield Hero, and I wrote a lot of words on why its twist is a huge effing problem. And then what I love about this, right, look at the ratio, 82, 14 likes, that's a ratio. And, oh boy, nothing but clap on this guy. Got the Ron Swanson. My favorite is this one, is a drink in the tears. Your tears are delicious, sir. Good stuff. Good stuff. So, that was a good one. Nothing in support. Nothing. I don't see the problem. It's story. It's art. You just like false blank accusations. Don't happen, so it's unrealistic. Japanese people wrote the story. They don't have the same stuff as we do. It's not related to anything happening in the U.S. You're taking this too seriously. So this is someone that's likely on this person's side. Not too much of a rage on this guy. Seems like a decent dude you could probably have a beer with, unlike this person who would literally go crazy. I explained it in my write-up. The framing specifically leans towards the idea that women lie about accusations to take advantage of men and shouldn't be believed. This strongly contradicts with the reality of these accusations, and they are almost always true. Why does it have to agree with reality? It takes place in a fantasy world. Kind of like your mind. Yeah, almost always true. I'm not denying that, but I don't see the problem with a fictional story doing that. Because it helps further promote these kinds of shitty narratives in reality by certain individuals who 100% believe in this kind of nonsense. So we got this guy. Yo, I'm putting this out there now. Off the strength of his false accusations in the first episode of The Rising of the Shield Hero, I ain't supporting this anime, and y'all shouldn't either. It was a corny move on their part. The writer is also not necessary to use in the story. Word up. Yes, it is. It brings up how much it has affected him throughout the show. The series makes a point of literally demonizing the Shield Hero. Literally, the church treats him as a demon. Finish the show before you write it off. So this is just a small little sample of the outrage that's going on. But like I said, I love covering this because it's so fun that, you know, these people, these NPC like Jet and Neverland and stuff, there's nothing they or Anime Femme here can do about this. And that gets to them. I feel like a lot of these NPCs just kind of let a lot of the stuff in anime and manga go because they know there's nothing they can do, because people in Japan, they think it's stupid and they laugh at you. So go Japan. I love Japan. And at least they are stepping up to the plate and giving us entertaining stuff. So anyway, let me know what you think about this greatness that is the salt of the SJW NPCs. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Like and subscribe. Check out the links in the description. Got a link to my Patreon. I know it's not that popular right now, but it's the only option there is. Also, check out my Stream Me. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys on the next one.